Fam, what is you saying? Dude, it's the new millennium. Nigga, you still believing in a spook, a mystery, a ghost coming out the damn sky? Fam, that's not what it do. I'm gonna call my boy here. Hey, Con, young Con. Man, would you teach this dude something, man? Damn. Who is God? The people wanna know. He ain't a spook, damn sure he ain't a ghost. But he is a man who ain't hard to see. Exodus chapter 15 verse 3 makes everything plain when it says that the Lord is a man of war and the Lord is his name. Somebody ran game and told you a lie about a mystery God floating up in the sky. But you and I, we both created in his image. And since you can't argue with it, let me finish. Cause he can see, he can hear, he can talk. God hands, God feet, and he can walk. But we all thought, and we was taught, that he's a spirit. The truth shall set you free. You know it when you hear it. Now how can he be everywhere at the same time and be a mystery, something that you can't find? It just don't make sense, son. Mathematically, we could never take three and put it into one. I know for some that is truly hard, but the answer is simple to the question of who is God.
So you saying God is a man, right? I mean, but
Who is God?
how a man gonna be God? I mean, he be knowing everything. Like, I mean, when was he born? What it be on?
The Bible calls him the Son of Man, because in truth, that's exactly what he is, if you understand. If you've seen the Son, then you've seen the Father. But right here is where it gets a little bit harder. Cause if the Son is white, and God is white, and God is good, are we the opposite up in the hood? You say what color don't matter. If it didn't, why did Michelangelo, when he painted him, make him a cracker? The slave master got his hands full, cause the book said that he had hair like lamb's wool and feet like brass, burnt in an oven, not Michelangelo's cousin. He sure wasn't. Don't be a hater, cause these are the facts, man. Jesus was and is a black man. I know for some that is truly hard, but the answer is simple to the question of who is God.
Yeah, that's deep, man. I kind of feel what you're saying.
Wanna know who is God?
But I mean, I'm just saying. You know, I believe in, God the Father, God the Son, and the Holy Ghost, man. What you mean, what color is it? Nigga, he white. Don't you see the picture when you go to church? The long hair, the blue eyes, the dude with the little white baby and everything, man. Come on, man.
Why does the scripture say God will come, huh? Where has he been? Where is he from? If every eye shall see him as he is, then he has to look something like you and me. You disagree? Let me state my case. Cause he did speak to Moses face to face. He came in sinful flesh to condemn sin in the flesh. From the east to the west, yes. Like a thief in the night, no alibi. Chapter 4 through 6, book of Malachi. He raised Elijah, they did they thing. Read Deuteronomy 18:18. In 1930, he made himself known to represent the black man and put him back on his throne. I know for some that it has to be hard to accept God in Master Farad. Muhammad, he's the one we've been waiting on, with the power to destroy our enemies and take Satan on. Now you know who God is. Make your mind up and let Louis Farrakhan serve as a reminder.
Man, you on some other stuff, man. So what I can't argue what you're saying. You believe what you believe. I don't believe what I believe. Okay. I'm just saying.
Peace, family. So we're back. I'm doing these things, trying to get us together. First and foremost, I want to express my gratitude for each and every one of you all for taking the time out to support this weekly program. We're building it. People are finding it to be beneficial. And today we had a special guest. We were scheduled to have Brother Kenny Muhammad, the Human Orchestra, but he couldn't make it for some unforeseen events. But Allah's the best knower. It provided me the opportunity to interview a brother that I want to interview. And, Allah's the best knower. So you see our brother here, Brother Young Khan the Don. You see our brother, and we're going to be hearing his testimony very soon. So before we get into that, as always, I want to go through our regular scheduled announcements. While we do this, we always have to remember why we are doing these things. So we're doing this because of our love for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and our desire to help to free him from the mental prisons in people's minds because of this false propaganda. So when you see this quote the minister wrote to George Bush Jr. in December the 1st, 2001, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is basically saying how, he is in a prison. And he's saying that he is in a prison, and he is basically appealing to the president to not judge him by the false titles of being anti-white, anti-Christian, and anti-Semitic, and anti-gay. So I believe that, as the Bible says, that the dragon was defeated by the blood of the Lamb and the power of their testimony. I believe that the testimony that the believers give, who we interview, are helping to free the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan from the prison that's in the mind of believers, and even in the mind of those who are just supporters or just people who are watching from the outside. 90% of the people who watch these videos or interviews are saying that they're finding them to be very beneficial. It's helping them in their faith, it's helping them as a believer, it's helping them, which is our goal, to help them get a greater understanding of our man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I pray that you are experiencing the same as well. And we go here, just proof. One person said, quote, the testimonials has helped me in the understanding the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on how to never give up and keep striving for excellence, no matter how hard life gets. Then you see here, this person said, quote, it has strengthened me because when I hear of the interactions of others with him, some of the testimonials are so humorously animated and heartfelt that I'm somehow feel closer to him. And that's our goal. We want you to feel closer to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So as always, please take a moment and go subscribe to our YouTube page at Mosque46AV and at Mosque_46 Instagram. So please take the time and go and do that. We will greatly appreciate your support. If you're watching this, I want you to also go share this. Share this on your page and encourage others to come in and watch it. Give you a moment to do so. And you can go follow us. Because one of the benefits of following us on our YouTube page is going to get constant content. We're constantly uploading lectures by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We'll be uploading also some local stuff that we've done here. So when you look at this, you hear when it says, if you want to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan fight against these false accusations of being an anti-Semite, we have information that can help you right here. So go and access this playlist. So when people talk all of that, find the appropriate video, post it and send it to them, and they can't deal with the truth. Also, we're building a playlist where it's talking about the history between Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam. This gives people the opportunity for them to hear from us what actually happened. And we go further. If you are in need of prayer, brothers, during this COVID, after this COVID, if you've been affected by the COVID, whatever it may be, send us your name of a Gmail, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Send us your name, Facebook, so we can add you to our prayer list so we can continue to pray for those who are in need of prayer, which we all are. Last night, I want to thank everybody who participated in the this discussion. I want to thank my family. I want to thank my wife. I want to thank the believers. I want to thank everybody that gave. I want to thank our big brother, Brother Jamil Muhammad, for him helping us to launch our initiative of, as he said, to retire our mortgage. We want to retire this, and by Allah's grace, we want to be able to give that testimony to say that we have paid off this mortgage. Now, inshallah, it's been confirmed. This is our next guest on next Sunday. We're going to hear from our sister, the singer, the songwriter, the actress, Sister Stephanie Mills, right here on I Have a Testimony. So make sure that you're tuned in, because all of this month, what we did was the theme of dealing with with people who have a in the Nation of Islam, who love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, but there's a connection to the art and culture. And so that was a theme. And inshallah, next month, we're going to take it to the international. So make sure you have your passport ready. We're going to be contacting and getting interviews from some brothers and sisters from outside of the actual country. So make sure that you're on and to prepare. But for right now, we have our brother, Young Khan Nadan, who's going to give us his testimony. Our brother who's been laying it down for years, and he's now putting it down even more so with this Instagram. I see you, brother. I see you posting. I see you with Big Ben. See what you all are doing, man. We thank you. So let's get to this interview with our brother. Let me bring him in.
There he is. Walaikum salam. Come on with it.
Let me get my camera up. First, let me say to the guests who are here, man, I think I was first introduced to this brother through his music. Through his music. And let me say this is my opinion. He is one of the few in our ranks that has the supreme ability to be able to take the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad and put it with rap music, and it sounds good. I'm gonna keep it 100. Everybody can't do that. I respect everybody adding the sound clip by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I respect everybody, with the teachings in their lyrics, but everybody can't make it sound good, man. So I appreciate that. And our brother, as I said, he came in, so he's such a soldier and willing to serve. He's doing two things at once. Brother, when I would drive my daughter to school and wherever, I'll put your CD in, man, and you'll be talking about the mother plan. You'll be talking about so much. And this is my way of further reinforcing the teachings to them and putting it in their mind through your music. And let me tell you, our brother was on this. There was one of the freestyle shows. You was handling your business. He showed up in a suit and bow tie, handling his business. If you watch his music, if you don't know about him today, you're gonna learn more about him. Our brother Young Khan. So what's going on, God?
Oh man, black man. First and foremost, I want to say that I'm honored to be on your show, that you called me. I have a very distinct memory of you around 2005 or 6. I saw you in the United Center at a Savior's Day. You probably don't think I remember that, but wow. You walked up to me and you said, brother, I came to Chicago for 2 reasons. One was to hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the other one was to find you and get your music. You probably don't even think I remember that. But see,
when you brought that back, now I remember saying that, and that was, listen, and that wasn't no fluff, brother. That was a 100% true. I wanted to get your music, and it's interesting. I recently was looking through some stuff that I had in my garage, and I came across one of the CDs. I think I bought several of them. So man, listen, you put it down, brother, and may Allah continue to keep blessing you to put it down. So we'll start off. Did you start rapping? I guess you were involved in rapping before you came to the Nation of Islam?
Yes, sir, I was. And
well, how did you start getting involved with the hip hop music?
So interestingly enough, there was a rapper for some of the old schoolers. I like to say, because God is fresh in every generation, so there's no age difference. No, God's older than everybody, but he's still fresh in every single generation. So during this particular time, the hottest rappers out was Kumo D, Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and I had been studying Kumo D. And Kumo D had a song and an album called Knowledge is King. And on this song, Knowledge is King, Kumo D made the reference to the lyrics that said, they party and dance and they don't ever glance at a book or look for their minds to advance. They caught in a rut, chasing butt, trying to get $1 or a nut. Then he said, read the Holy Quran or the Bible, because it's liable to be a revival. For the meek that seek power, it'll bring insoluble power. Knowledge is king. So when I heard those bars, that inspired me to prove to Kumo D, even though I didn't know him, I wanted to not be a part of that crowd that didn't read. that didn't have a book. So I went to the shopping mall and I saw this book because I'm an artist. Also, I can draw and I can paint. I can do a number of things. And I saw this book cover talking about, it was the autobiography of Malcolm X. And as it had Malcolm X's picture on it, that intrigued me and it got my attention because of the artwork on it.
Yeah.
That made me want to buy the book just to see what it was. So I flipped the book over and it said that he was one of the most powerful black men in America. And I didn't know anything about Malcolm X, but I bought that book because I was on a mission to prove Kumo D wrong. And I got that book and I started reading it and studying it. And I got more and more engulfed into his story and the teachings. And I became intrigued by the time I finished that book. I was about 18 or 19 years old. And I remember vividly when I got done with the book saying, well, where is somebody like Malcolm X today? And so shortly thereafter, there was a documentary that was running on a local access channel called PBS, where they were showing a documentary called Eyes on the Prize. And it was more video footage of Malcolm this time. So now I went from the book to the video footage and him being assassinated. And maybe about a week or so later, I saw this strange fella as I was turning on the old school cable box where you had to manually go up there and flip through the channels on the box.
Right.
And I saw this black man. He was in a suit and he had a bow tie on and he was playing a violin. And that shocked me because I'd never seen a black man playing the violin.
Wow.
And it turns out that it was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the Bobby Jones Gospel Show. And I know that video is surfaced on YouTube. I encourage y'all to look it up. But whatever the minister said in that interview after playing the violin, it got my attention. And my mother walked into the living room past me and I said, Mom, do you know who that is? She said, oh, that's Farrakhan. White people don't like him. They banned him from the city of Indianapolis, which wasn't true, but it just bears witness to the prison that you were talking about in the quote that you showed that the minister wrote before we started, where he said that, you know, don't lock him in based on the journalistic untruths that are written about him. Listen to him for yourself. And so my girlfriend at that time, a couple of months later, she knew that I was into all this black stuff. So for my birthday, my girlfriend brought me a ticket to go hear the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in person. And she brought me a message to the black man. And I was hooked from that point on. And so I went downtown. I was trying to catch a bus. She and I were catching a bus to go hear the minister because we didn't have transportation. And two FOI rolled up in the car on us. We didn't know them. They said, y'all trying to go hear Minister Farrakhan? We said, yeah. They said, come on in, we'll take you. And something in me said, I'm getting in the car with these brothers. I don't know who they are, but they all right with me. And we got in the car and we went down there to the convention center. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was speaking on the theme of reparations and his title, subject matter, added up. What does America owe the black man and woman of America? And when I saw it, I remember sitting in the crowd saying to myself, that man needs some help. I wish that I could help him. And you fast forward about a month later, there was an Indiana Black Expo event going on. And there was this big stocky brother who was passing out flyers at one of the vendors' booths. And at the bottom of this flyer, it had the words, we will also be having tapes by Minister Louis Farrakhan. So I kept the flyer for about a month and a half and waited for this store to open. And I went into this store. I found out where it was. I went there in the city of Indianapolis, which coincidentally was about 3 or 4 blocks from where Brother Nuri Muhammad used to live at. This store was a few blocks from where he lived. We'll bring him in the picture a little later. But so I went in this store and I didn't even speak to the brother. And my first words to him was, yes, what do I need to do to join the Nation of Islam?
Wow.
And he tore off a little piece of paper in a notebook and gave it to me. And my first meeting was a Friday night study group. I had been studying a couple of months, maybe 2 months max, before I came to my first Mosque meeting, and I've been here ever since.
Wow. Praise be to Allah, man. That is That is interesting. That's one of the things I love about this show, because you get to hear how believers came to Islam.
That's
And
right.
what made, like, when did you make the decision to start using your lyrical prowess, your lyrical ability to start helping just to start helping the honorable minister Louis Farrakhan?
Well, I know that from an artist perspective, that we as artists tend to rap about the things that we have knowledge of, or we rap about things that we think people want to hear. Very few of us will rap and come from the core of our being and our soul and just tell our story. Only the more vulnerable ones of us, like the late great Tupac Shakur or Bob Marley or Marvin Gaye, that are going to just bare their soul. So the more knowledge I began to get, it just began to flow into my lyrics. You know more, your flow starts to change. And so I just decided to put what I had been learning in a rap. I had always pretty much had clean music, because I had determined that as a young rapper coming up, that I never wanted to have a rap that if my mother walked in and heard me rapping, that I would have to try and edit my lyrics, or that it would be something that would be embarrassing to my mother. So I started out as a clean rapper to begin with. So this is not something new that just happened. But the very first rap that I wrote, I think I may have recorded it. I remember probably a good 80% of it. It was called Supreme Wisdom. And when I wrote it and I recited it to my then captain, who later became Brother Minister Aziz Muhammad, he heard this rap and he was floored. He said, "That is the baddest rap that I heard since Public Enemy."
Wow.
He said, "I don't know nothing about this music business," because he's a former professional football player for the New York Giants. He said, "But if you would trust me, I would take the knowledge that I gained from playing football in my years in professional sports, and I will learn all that I can about the music industry, and we will form our own label, and you'll be the artist, and we can get this word out to the people." And that's kind of how I started with that journey. But that rap right there, I say, was the turning point that really built my confidence. And those bars still stand true to this day, by the way.
Do you remember any of those? Do you still remember any of those bars? And if so, can you spit some from
So
that
this
song?
is, we talking 27 years ago. So, but because it meant a lot to me, I probably remember a lot of it. And it starts off like, "In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that foremost and first of all, that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger. So I believe in the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, the leader and teacher of the Nation of Islam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum from King Supreme. May yo stop the killing black man with the quickness. You're already dead and you died from a sickness. But a sickness can't be cured with the right stuff. And there ain't no stuff that's quite like us, because we got the medicine Muhammad gave us. The only thing on the earth that could save us or bring us back to life from the dead, and replace the chains in our brains with a new head full of truth to make falsehood disperse and run away from the God of the universe. So follow the FOI when you know why. The truth for fruit in suits and a bow tie have the cure. But when we deliver it, the Uncle Toms and the so-called niggas get jealous and tell us y'all must be crazy. Nobody but Jesus Christ could save me. Or praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Amen. Nothing but a child in a spiritual playpen. So step in Muhammad's mosque if you're lost in a hell of a cost. Not a so-called Holocaust, and come and get some supreme wisdom. God is a black man and there is none who can dispute me. Whenever I drop it, it came from Elijah Muhammad, the prophet, sent by God with the last battle cry. Chapter 4, 5th verse in the book of Malachi. Told you the messenger was coming to save you from the hell the goddamn white man gave you. I forgot what happened after that, but I was going in. I'm just saying, on my first set of bars now, they ain't nothing to play with.
Somebody on Facebook said, "Brother, remind me of Rakim." So that's a real big statement, man. And I heard you say on a recent video with Brother Ben, as you all were going to the Sajda house, you talked about how you also work in schools. And it made me think about, like, when I invite people into my classroom, I work in the school system too. And I've invited some activists who are rappers and who are poets. It never fails. When they open up, they start out like fitting verses, man, them children are like days. So from your experience, why do you think that the spoken word being in poetry, rap, changes their minds like that?
Well, the minister said that rapping is the highest form, is one of the higher forms of mathematics. And he said, I remember being in the Salam restaurant where he mentioned that Allah is the first rapper. He said Allah started with the bars in the Al-Fatiha with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. Ihdina sirata al-mustaqim. See, he spin bars from the beginning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I got a Muslim brother that just walked past. He started talking in Arabic. I'm doing an interview right now. But if you check out the mathematical structure of the first verse of the Holy Quran, there's a rhyme pattern there. And then there's also another surah or chapter in the Quran called the Poets. And the poets were the ones who had the ears of the people. So this generation, and with the birth of rap music and hip hop, it is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding at a much higher pace. And you gotta listen, you gotta pay attention. And some of the old school rappers say it's not that I rap too fast, it's just that you listen too slow. But the youth, their ears are attuned to catch every word, every syllable. Where the old heads, the older ones, they may not be able to keep up. And they say, well, I don't know what they said with all that. But the shorties, the youth, man, they can catch every word because they are really more advanced than what we are. And so they're already into the future. So if you're going to be successful and engage in them, you have to talk in a language that they understand. And they're already trained to go. They're in a faster mode. They're hyperactive. So your lyrics have to be hyper. Your lyrics have to be engaging and coming at them at breakneck speed. And as fast as you can spit it, they can get it. That was a bar right there.
That was a bar. And man, you making me think about that when you dropped a song on that it was not Memphis Bleak. Have you forgotten we came to this country for? Ooh, and then that added up. There's a bunch of them, man. You talked about how with brother Aziz and were part of that record label and that rap group. Can you talk about also after just the inception, just the history of the rap group? Because I believe it was ex-niggas, right?
Correct. So the science behind that, I believe I was the one that came up with the name. If it wasn't me, it was both of us together. But we were trying to think of a name that was already a household name. So my thinking was that when you say X, anybody in the Nation of Islam or the conscious community, that was familiar language on the conscious side. But when you said the word nigga in the streets, everybody's familiar with what that is. So we just put the two together to show to the world that we are no longer niggas. We're no longer Negroes or colored people or ham bones or jungle bunnies. No, we Xing out that whole culture of being Negroes and niggas because that means that you're dead from the neck up. So we put a before picture on the top to show where we came from, to show the bottom picture to where we were the resurrected black man in suits and bow ties, standing upright and strong on our square. And that's how we came up with the group X Niggas. We wanted to be a household name to both sides of the fence, to both communities, and have an attracting power on both sides. So that was the whole intent behind the name X Niggas. And of course, we know the X represents the unknown. A lot of us don't know where we come from. We don't know the knowledge. We don't know who the true and living God is. So in mathematics, it represents the unknown. But even in marriage, when you come out of a bad relationship, you say, that's my ex-husband, or that's my ex-wife, or that's my ex-girl, or my ex-boyfriend, or I'm an ex-felon. So we say, well, you know what we're going to be? We're going to be ex-niggas. And if the people don't want to come to the mosque, we're going to put the teachings on a CD or cassette tape back then. And we're going to drop this CD or audio cassette inside their car so that they never could say that they didn't hear the truth. And
That's-
that was the mindset, that was the scientific approach, that every time we sold a cassette or dropped the CD in your car, we turned your mosque into a mosque meeting, and your car became the mosque. And you couldn't say you didn't hear it. So I wanted to make it as clear as possible what we represented and who we represented.
And I know, like with artists, man, like I came looking for you for Savior's Day because your music impacted me and it impacted my children. What has been some of the feedback of like profound testimonies that you have heard from people inside and outside of the nation about the impact of your music and your lyrics on them?
One time I remember in the early 90s, I was going door to door with the Final Call newspaper. And I recall knocking on a lady's door, and she opened the door. And when I introduced myself and told her that I was in this rap group called X Niggas, she ran around the house screaming. She said, "Oh my God, it's really you." She said, "I've been trying to tell my daughter for the last 10 years that the black man is God, and she didn't believe it until she heard it on your cassette tape." So I was deeply impacted just by that, because I had no idea who the lady was. I didn't know her daughter was listening to the music. And I've experienced this over and over and over again, both in the street, in the school system, inside the Nation of Islam, where believers would come up to me. They want to get pictures with me. I've rapped for believers' children over the phone. I've taken pictures. I've signed autographs. Many of their children learned about the mother plane or fall of America or how to add it up or their student enrollment, just various aspects of the teachings. I felt that I wanted to use my voice as though I literally was Minister Farrakhan if he was a rapper. So that's why I later chose the name Young Khan, the Don. A lot of people don't know that the Young Khan stands for, that's the big Khan, and I'm the Young Khan. But when you hear it, you getting Farrakhan whether you like it or not. Some might call me the dude in the suit. Some might call me Young Khan the Don. But if you look on here, this logo right here on my shirt, I'm a little lost with the camera. Okay, there it is.
I got you. We can see it.
That's a dude in the suit. That's the FOI. Right. So when people couldn't remember my name, they would say, you know, the Muslim dude, the man, he cold, the dude, the Muslim rapper, the dude in the suit. So I just took that moniker as another one of my names. So whether you call me Young Khan the Don, dude in the suit, M1, Jesus, the minister himself calls me Brother Jesus. So I done told him my name is Young Khan at least 3 times, and he sticks to calling me Brother Jesus. So I can't argue with the man. And that's the name that I got.
And I saw that you have no hesitation in going into these rap circles and competitions rocking a suit. Like I thought about one time Lil Wayne in one of his songs, he was saying, and I don't be wearing no suits because I ain't trying to be president. Like some people don't see a rapper, like a suit is not considered a rapper's attire. So what was it that made you make that decision? You kind of touched on it. You say, yo, I'm rocking this suit.
Because I wanted to be true to who I was. So even in me picking the name Young Khan the Don, you know, everybody was a little this or a young that or a little this. So I wanted to give the people my true self. So since the name was, I was an FOI, I was a rapper, I was a Muslim, but I also love the culture of hip hop. So I said, I'm just gonna be me. So I picked the name. Khan means ruler. Don means teacher. And that pretty much describes what I've done my entire adult life within the Nation of Islam. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be Young Khan the Don. And I'm going to wear my suit everywhere I go, because we are taught that opposites attract and like repels. So if you walk into a cipher or a club or a scene where hip hop is going on and I'm the only one that got a suit on, automatically it's going to be all eyes on me, because my pants not hanging low. I ain't got the J's on. I ain't got the jewelry on. Well, you know, I got it on now, but I'm chilling in Class E. Oh yeah, I'm blinged out just in case anybody wanted to know. Come on, man, somebody got to do it. But all of that, it speaks a language. And we are taught that no man can be successful in teaching the people that cannot speak clearly the people's language. So I knew that me having a suit on will automatically draw attention to me. Now, once I had their attention visually, one of the first things I would do when I got on stage is, and I still do it today, whenever I go into a new crowd, they say, well, brother, you a rapper? Or some of y'all may say, well, why you got a suit on? I say, well, I wear a suit because when I rap, I kill niggas. And it's only right that I be dressed for the funeral. So I have respect for the dead. That's why I got the suit on, because I handle my business and I kill rappers. So I'm respecting you, and I want you to respect me after I hit you with these bars. So that broke the ice with the crowd every single time. And they say, hell no, my mama, he cold with it. He got a suit on, but they never forgot after that. Whenever they saw that suit coming, I always got the respect from any rap group, from any group of my peers or anybody that was around. That was a guy right here that's giving me a shout out. I wish he could come around here so y'all could see him. And he is, I call him Slim Shady, because he's a white boy. Oh, he's as white as a snowflake, but he's one of my proteges and students, and I look to work with him. He got a lot of respect for me. I got a lot of respect for him. He saw me come up in the school, and I invited him up on stage with me to freestyle, and me and him been rocking ever since. So don't think just because you white that we as Muslims got a problem with you because you white. It ain't got nothing to do with that. God don't respect. It's not about the skin color. It's about the actions. It's about what you stand on. It's about how you treat other people. Even though I understand his nature and his essence, and he's standing here listening to me right now, I know the essence from which he comes, but I deal with him and treat him the same way that I want to be treated.
That's what's up. So that's powerful, man. What do you remember the first time you physically met the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? Tell us about that situation and what words he shared and the impact on you.
The very first time that I met the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it was either 1990 or 1991. But the lecture is on YouTube right now that he gave the day that I met him. It's called Accept Your Own and Be Yourself. And so at this time, I was a processing brother. I had the Bobby Brown haircut with the Gumby hair. I couldn't afford a suit at the time. I just had a polka dot tie on. I had my white shirt, but that was all I could afford at the time. So there had been so much turmoil going on inside of the mosque at that time. And Brother Aziz was the captain. Then his name was James 2X. We had a believers meeting. So I'm processing. I don't know what a believers meeting is, but I'm invited to this believers meeting for registered and processing. So I'm sitting in here and I'm watching my captain be properly relieved of his post. Until we had to go to Chicago. The whole mosque had been requested to go to Chicago because the minister wanted to meet with us. So I had never been to Chicago, and now I'm here, and I hear the minister give this speech about accept your own and be yourself. And he invited all of us that were part of that mosque in the back office where he sits before he comes out to speak. So we're all back there. The minister got this olive green suit on, and he puts his hands up like this. And he said, well, you all been writing me about this, brother. The floor is open. So what do you have to say? And I looked around. I'm processing. Nobody said anything. Everybody had been writing letters on him, reporting him, talking about what he was doing or wasn't doing. You know,
what mosque was this? What mosque was this?
74. Mosque 74.
Okay.
Brother Nuri hadn't came through the door yet. And so I was looking around and nobody said anything. And I raised my hand and I said, Assalamu alaikum, sir. He said, wa alaikum salam. I said, I just wanted to say that the minister that you have, he reminds me of more like a Baptist minister. I said, but his assistant minister, when he speaks, he reminds me of more like how you talk. And I understand him more than I do the person who was the actual minister of the mosque. I didn't know it at that time, Brother Willie, but I had just unleashed the dogs on me with a comment like that, to where I'm saying the assistant minister got more juice and more delivery than the actual minister of the mosque. I didn't know it. but I understood it much later on why all of this energy started coming my way, and I became public enemy number 2, because Brother Aziz was public enemy number 1, and since I was rolling with him, I was public enemy number 2, but I was going to stand on mine. And the minister said to the minister at that time, he said, well, you know, brother, when you got a young minister like that that's helping you, let him teach. You're going to be the one to get the credit. He said it was like that for me when I was the minister in Boston. I was the captain, and whenever I spoke, the people just signed up and the roster just cleared out because I had the spirit. He said, so, and I was the one doing the teaching, and I was the captain. And that's what Brother Aziz was. He said, this man is a captain minister. And then he said, well, first of all, can't nobody tell me nothing about this man. This man is a soldier. And this was Brother Aziz's first time speaking directly with the minister as well. So both of us had our first encounter on the same day. He didn't even know the minister knew who he was, but the minister defended him and said that he was a soldier. And so that was my very first encounter with the minister, was me speaking up, defending my brother and defending my position in what I thought as a believer. That was the very first time that I had words with the minister.
And what impact, what view, like what was your view of the minister after having that experience with him like that and hearing his words that he shared? Because I'd imagine he shared more too during that believers meeting. Like what did you walk away thinking about him?
I remember saying to myself that he was a very powerful man, and I was just grateful to be able to meet him and be in the same room as he was, because I've always been a studious person, especially when it comes to the teachings. I was just in awe and couldn't believe that I was actually in the room at 20 or 21 years old with the baddest black man on the planet. And a couple years later, I was able to meet him again. And this time it was leading up to the Million Man March. And they were working on a compilation album for the Million Man March called 1 Million Strong. Well, we as ex-niggas, we had been kicking up so much dust, and we were traveling around the country promoting our music, that we had been invited to the palace with these other rappers. Let me battery plugged up. Y'all give me one second.
So for those who are watching, we have our brother
still can
online.
Hear me, right?
Yes, sir. We got our brother Young Khan Nadan. He's talking about the second time meeting the
Okay, you still can hear me? You with me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Could pick up where you left off.
Okay, Brother Willie, you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. You can hear me? I can hear you.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we back in business.
Yeah, so you were saying
we
about
were at the palace.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We had went to the palace. Brother Aziz, myself, and I can't remember if Brother Hashim, Redeemed Hakeem, was in the group at this time. But we were at the palace, and all of these rappers were there. D.A. Smart was there. Lord Jamar from Brand Nubian. Ice Cube might have been there. I mean, it was a number of people sitting around the minister's table at the dining room. And we had made this song called "A Million, 1 in a Million," or "A Million Strong." And so I was sitting next to Brother Aziz. I didn't want to be out of pocket. And I leaned over and asked him, I said, sir, do you think it'll be okay if we ask the minister to listen to our song? He said, sure, go ahead. So once he gave me the go ahead, I raised my hand again. Assalamu alaikum, brother minister. Wa alaikum salam. I said, I'm a part of the group called Ex-Niggas, and we did a song about the Million Man March too. And I was wondering if you would listen to it and give us your opinion on it. I said, I already got it queued up. And the way I said that, it made him laugh a little bit. And so we had a boom box, and we put the boom box on the table and played the song. And while we were playing the song, everybody else at the table, they started having small talk, like they wasn't even listening, to us, the ex-niggas, what we were talking about. Everybody started having sidebar conversation, except for the minister himself. And the minister sat there again with those fingers, you know how he gets his pose. He sat there and he listened all the way till the song went off. And the song was so strong and militant, it started off like this. Hot damn, Uncle Sam got pain in his heart because he don't want to deal with the Million Man March. But Farrakhan got black men coming back in with the impact of a Mac 10. See, we've been in hell long enough. Time to take back what belonged to us. For Elijah Muhammad the Messiah, pushing the Rockefellers, the Fords, and Rothschilds in the fire. You paid off Adolf Hitler to kill the Jews. Now print that in the news. You know we got the devil on the run again, scared of Farrakhan coming with 1 million black men. That's just part of it. But it was like 3 verses of hot fire. So when we got done, the minister tapped on the glass to get everybody's attention. And he said these words. He said, you know, brother, you have to be careful on how you call the people to this march. Because the spirit in which you call them is the spirit in which they're going to come. And the lyrics on that song is a spirit of war. And when the devil hears that, he will play that in a court of law and say, this is what they came to do. He said, so we don't want to be the ex-Muslims. He said, we don't want to be the ex-niggas and the ex-Muslims too. He said, I was like that when I was the minister in New York. There was a brother that had gotten shot or killed in New York, and he got on the radio, he said, and I ordered all white police out of Harlem. And when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad heard that, he chastised me and said, brother, no wise general speaks ahead of his actual power to do. And so I could tell that everybody at the table, they were in the same spirit that I was about making some music for the Million Man March. And I also knew that that changed the trajectory of the spirit of the songs that they were presenting and submitting to be on this compilation album that was called 1 Million Strong. And so I just remember feeling like this small when he was like, we don't want to be the ex-niggas and the ex-Muslims too. He said, out of 1 million people that show up, he said, you may have 50,000 that want to fight. He said the rest of them would be so afraid to do anything, they would make it as though the 50,000 were not even present. He said, so you have to be careful. The spirit that we're trying to promote is atonement, reconciliation, and responsibility. And I just remember saying, man, I got this thing all wrong. I thought we was coming to tear some stuff up, Brother Willie, and the minister he done took it the other way. Yes, sir, Brother Minister. God, I thought, and the song was banging, but it wasn't in sync with the spirit that he was trying to get across to bring us to that march on that historical day in 1995, of which I was blessed to be there, and every other march that we have participated in since. And that was the first day that I made $20,000. It was in my what do you call those things you wear around your waist, the fanny pack?
Yeah, the fanny packs.
So I had been collecting money all day from selling our music, and brothers from all over the country and the world, from 5 o'clock in the morning until 1 o'clock in the morning, all throughout that day, all I had time to do was say, please, just one moment. I was just making change all day long, and I took a restroom break. Went to the restroom, I got this fanny pack on me, and at the end of the night, we finally go to the hotel room, and I start laying the money out on the bed with Brother Aziz sitting there, and we counting this money, and we had made $20,000 cash on the day of the Million Man March. I would say it was a good day at the office.
Yes, sir. Definitely a good day. That's beautiful. And see, but your testimony about that song and the minister's words, see, that's witness bearing, you know.
Yes, sir.
That's witness. So I'm glad that we are able to, that I've had the opportunity to even and be inspired to ask you that question and you share, and we can get that, because that's confirmation to show the Honorable Minister Lewis what the minister had in mind as it relates to the march. Why do you think, like, from a hip hop perspective, why do you think that, like, you've heard certain rappers talking about smacking civil rights leaders and saying that they have sold out, but when it comes to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, they have great respect for the minister. why do you think the minister has earned the respect of the hip hop artists, and they're not repelled by him, they're attracted to him regardless of the generation? Why do you think that is so with the minister?
I think that is so because the minister is authentic. The minister is truthful. He don't bite his tongue. He don't scratch where he don't itch. He don't laugh when it ain't funny. And you're going to get the same man in the public as you get in private. He's the same way, whether he's at home or in front of 10,000 people. And that authenticity, I think, bleeds through his personality. And when you're talking about hip hop, the foundation of hip hop was dealing with the truth and the struggle of what we went through in our communities and in our inner cities in New York and throughout the ghettos of America. It was all about you expressing your truth and your reality. And with the way that Allah blesses the minister to deliver it time and time and time again, with his level of consistency, what he says just resonates with us. And we know that what you see is what you get. And he imparts the knowledge that we need, the wisdom that we need, the understanding that we need, that helps us to live a better life, that gives us a better quality of living and a better standard of living. He shows us how to have respect for ourselves and our families and to be unafraid to walk in our truth. So, not only that, he does not condemn this generation or the generation prior or the one after that. He doesn't waste time condemning dirty glasses. He's too busy filling the glasses up with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. As his teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said, you don't condemn a dirty glass, you just sit a clean one beside it. And when the people get thirsty, they'll know which one to drink from. So I think we all have seen his example. We have benefited from his words. We have benefited from his sacrifice. And inherently, we acknowledge that. Because if there were no Elijah Muhammad, if there were no Louis Farrakhan, hip hop as we know it would not even exist. There would be no Public Enemy. There would be no KRS-One. There would be no Rakim. There would be no 5% Nation, no Big Daddy Kane. There would be no Drake. There would be no NWA. None of them would have existed had it not been for the words, the truth, and the wisdom and guidance of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So when you say hip hop, you saying Elijah Muhammad. When you say hip hop, you saying Louis Farrakhan, whether you like it or not. And I challenge anybody to fight me on these facts.
What? And I
I don't
know
know
you've
if
had
you answered the question, but I'm just giving it to you the way I see it.
Listen, hey, this is your testimony. You answered the question. You've had several interactions with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Like, what has been one of the most, if you can think of, one of the most memorable things that the minister may have shared with you that it just like made you just like, wow?
I remember in 1992, I was blessed to be at his dinner table with Brother Aziz again, because I was the captain of the mosque. So the minister wanted to meet with Brother Aziz and some of his other ministers and their captains, and I was there. I remember sitting at that table eating that bean soup out of the gold eating utensils, and I was marveling over that. And it was right before Savior's Day 92, and a couple of brothers had gotten in a vehicle accident and had gotten killed, either coming home from Savior's Day or going to Savior's Day. I can't remember which one, but their van flipped over because they were speeding. They were rushing. I think it was on their way back. And those two brothers died in this horrible car accident. And the minister was asking the question to those of us at the table, why do you think as of late that death has now entered the house of the nation? And different people were giving their answers, and somebody mentioned that they think it was a lack of knowledge. And the minister said, no, you can't say it's a lack of knowledge, because God himself has come to give us the knowledge. And then he just dug a little deeper, and he said that it is due to our rebellion that death has now entered into the house. And this led to him giving a lecture the following day called Obedience is the Highest Form of Sacrifice. So that just stood out to me, that death and rebellion were linked to one another, and that life and submission were linked to one another. And you know, the word Muslim means one who submits to do the will of God. And I just brought that same point back up to Brother Ben. When Brother Ben raised the question on one of his podcasts, do you think that it's because of a lack of knowledge or a lack of leadership? I came on the program, I said, I don't think it's a lack of either one, because we have a leader in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We have had leadership in front of us. It's not a lack of knowledge, because we have the supreme wisdom. I said, Brother Ben, you want to know what our problem is? Our problem is we don't want to submit. We want to be Frank Sinatra and do it our way. Yeah, until we realize when we're in trouble that our way wasn't the way the whole time. But by the time we submit to that, our teeth are gone. You know, we walking on crutches. We out of shape. We cold, ragged, naked, hungry, and out of doors. Our hair is gone. You know, we just in a bad condition. And that's why Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it would take us 75 years to learn how to live, because we spend most of our time trying to do it our way.
It's interesting
that
that
one of my brothers here, he checking me out. We are vendors inside this flea market, and he just joined the program with Brother Ben.
Okay.
And so he don't know I'm doing this interview. He know it now.
Okay.
He's listening
I
to
got just two
he
more
trying to get some
questions.
of that knowledge.
Two more questions. You talked about, you said, so you were there. Our brother delivered a beautiful lecture on today. So you were there when Brother Nuri came into the mosque there in mosque number 74. You could talk about that history or your experiences.
Absolutely. Brother Nuri was a teenager. He was about 15 or 16 years old. And at that time, his girlfriend was Sister Terry, who's his wife today. But I remember reading in the autobiography of Malcolm X. And it's interesting that you asked that question, because it made me go back. As an FOI, I used to sit on the porch and read because I was doing security. And in Malcolm X's book, I remember him asking the Honorable Elijah Muhammad how many people should be in the mosque and temples throughout America. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in the book said that there should be thousands. And Malcolm said, well, in your opinion, sir, what is the best way of getting them there? And Honorable Elijah Muhammad, according to his words in the book, said to go after the youth, and the old ones will follow through shame. So I took that as a jewel. And when I got that, I took it to the minister and showed that to him. And so from that moment on, we focused everything we did on young people. So we had 2 or 3 months. We had 2 or 3 months of a dip in our charity, in our, you know, the financial side, because we literally started focusing on the 8-year-old, the 9-year-old, the 12-year-old. So we had a mosque full of children. And after about 3 months of this, their parents started coming around trying to figure out what it was that we were teaching that had their children preoccupied. And so now we started getting in whole families, but it was because we focused on the young people. And Brother Nuri was a part of this bunch. So he came in at 15 or 16 years old. And when he came in, he and his girlfriend, they would come on Wednesday nights. It might have been 10, 15 people in there on some nights, 30 on some nights if we was lucky. You know how it is on a mosque night, especially on a Wednesday. And I would be the one teaching, because I was not only the mosque secretary, I was also the assistant minister.
Wow.
So I was teaching FOI class, Wednesday night lectures, Friday night study group, and even some Sunday lectures. And Brother Nuri and his Sister Terry, they would be there, and they would have the notepads out, and I would be teaching with so much fire and energy. I would be teaching, visualizing. There was 10,000 people out there in the audience, and it was only 15 or 20. And Brother Nuri and them, they would be taking notes. And so he joined. I was his captain. He recited to me. I taught him how to go out and soldier because that was my job. And when we saw him the other day after the laborers meeting that just happened on the 17th, the 30-year anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, with his experience, his vision. We saw Brother Nuri as we were going into the same hotel together, and we stopped to take this picture. And the first thing Brother Nuri said was, when he stood next to me, he said, "This is the man that trained me in Islam." And so Brother Nuri got into the ministry because one day, it was a Sunday, and I asked him to go open up. He looked at me, he said, because both of our names were Brother Damon at that time. I was Damon X, he was Damon 2X. He said, "No, sir, Brother Captain, I'm not going up there. That's what you do. I don't do no teaching. I soldier." He said, "You the one always teaching." I said, "Well, brother, you've been studying, ain't you?" He said, "Yes, sir, but I can't go up there. You just gonna have to bust me for insubordination. I'm not going up there." I said, "Oh, come on, brother. Look at you. Look at you." So I reported him to the minister. And Brother Aziz called and said, "Let me speak to him." And got him on the phone. He said, "Yeah, Brother Damon told me you was punking out about going up there and speaking." He said, "No, sir, but minister, I ain't punking out. I just didn't feel well. I got really sick." So the following Sunday, we sent him right back up there. Said, "No, you got to go up there." And from then until now, our brother has been on the roster.
Praise be to Allah.
And at 19 years old, he became the minister of Mosque number 74 in Indianapolis, Indiana, and he's been a minister ever since.
Yo, man, that's a very young age to be over a mosque, brother. That's a
you already know that. So I'm honored that I had a part in our brother's journey, and I'm thankful to Allah for any contributions that I may have even up to this moment, because through Brother Nuri, thousands of people are learning about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Thousands of them are becoming believers just from listening to him, and he just spoke again today. So every time I see him, I see a reflection of myself, and it lets me know that all those days and nights and work that was put in and sacrifice, as the Quran says, Allah waste not the work of one worker.
Praise be to Allah.
Man,
beautiful,
that's a big honor to say I'm a part of that legacy.
Yes, sir. Beautiful. And this is my last question. I want you to think about this. You know, the title of this show is "I Have a Testimony." And we talked about, you know, how like testimony in a court of law can free someone or convict someone. It can be people called to give witness testimonies about character testimonies and stuff like that. If you had the opportunity to stand before the world and to testify of three qualities of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, not that you read about, but that you have seen and experienced, what would be those three qualities, and why those three qualities would be the ones you would testify of?
Oh, that's easy. I don't even have to put thought into that. The first characteristic or quality that I would say to the world that I am most appreciative of from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the quality and characteristic of love and humility. I know that's two, but I'm gonna give you a 2-for-1 on that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Love and humility. The man loves God. He loves the messenger of God, and he loves the people of God the same way that he loves God and the messenger. And so that's one, his love and humility. His number two, his commitment. He has committed himself to the rise of Black people until there's this last breath in his body. I've seen him in the time that I've known him from a distance. I've learned from him in his thousands of broadcasts and lectures. You could feel the love and the sincerity, the commitment, the sacrifice. That will be the third characteristic. He has sacrificed not only himself, but he's even sacrificed his wife and his children, to where he loves all of us with the same love that he loves his children with. And I was blessed to have a conversation, myself, Brother Ben, Sister Wendy Muhammad, and Brother Winford. We had a conversation a couple of days ago with Brother Abner, one of the minister's sons. And Brother Abner just was sharing with us how, as he grew up, seeing his father do this work, that he used to resent when he would come up to different people and believers, and they would refer to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan as their father. And he would say to himself, man, that ain't your father, that's my father.
Wow, keep it real.
And he didn't understand how somebody who didn't grow up in their household would consider the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan their father, until he shared with us on the eve of the Million Man March. He said that there was a brother who was doing security that didn't really have a good relationship with his biological father. And his biological father called him on the phone. And the son asked his father what he felt. And the father told this brother, he said that nothing would make me more proud and honored to know that if a bullet was coming at the minister, that he had a son that was on security willing to give his life and take that bullet to save the life of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Oh, that's powerful, brother.
And when Brother Abner shared that story, he said, that's when it crystallized for me that I got brothers and sisters all over this planet. He said, because I have children and I know what my children mean to me. But to love a man so much that you would be willing to sacrifice your own child so that man could live, he said that changed my perspective and made it crystallize for me. Tears came to his eyes in the discussion. It came to my eyes. It came to Brother Ben's eyes. He said because he wanted to write a book. And we were just trying to help him to see that his testimony, just like you're saying, his testimony is going to bring people to the faith and it's going to free people. He said he's going to call the book The Long Way Home. And he brought up that when he was younger, where they lived, that he and his brothers and sisters, they used to have to walk through these white neighborhoods in this affluent area, and they would take the long way to get home. He said that reminds him of the life that he's lived, even though he was right up under his father, that he chose to live a life that took him the long way. And after going all of these, through all of these pitfalls and twists and turns and detours, he finally recognized a year ago, he said, that he has lived a privileged life. He didn't even know he was privileged until about a year ago. Wow. So I don't know if that answered the question, but it must have been
that was
to share it.
Yes.
And salute to Brother Abner.
Yes, sir.
And
salute
I told
to him
that he got to tell his story because he knows his father from a way that none of us will ever know his father from, that the information and the experiences that he has will strengthen the believer. It will give insight to those who are searching, and it will provide a path and a way that only the testimony coming from his mouth to their ears will provide. And he will reach people that even his father is not reaching, but he cannot be afraid to get out there and stand and tell his story.
Yo, what you just said is also one of the thriving ideas behind this show. Because with the testimony, if we speak, you know what I'm saying? Now did you give all three of the qualities? You gave me two for one.
Let me see, love.
Love. You say two for one. Sacrifice and commitment.
Those are the three things that you need, not just as the minister, but anybody in life. You cannot excel in this world if you're not committed. You cannot excel if you don't sacrifice. You cannot excel if you don't love what you do. You won't be able to sustain what it is you're trying to do. And when you love it, you don't get tired. You don't feel the pain of the process because your love overrides the work that you're doing. And that's what, to me, he exemplifies those three characteristics.
Praise be to Allah. For those who are watching, we always do this. Please take some time and leave comments in the comment section about what what part of our brother's testimony just resonating with you? What part is touching your soul, touching your spirit? Please take some time to type that. And even those who watch this after we do the replays, please leave some comments. And the last question, if I know, how can people get, if people can get your, to follow you, to get your new, you gotta keep pumping, man. Keep coming with that music. How can people get hold to your music or whatever else you're doing?
They can follow me on Instagram and Twitter under Young Khan the Don. The is spelled with an A instead of an E. Young Khan the Don on Instagram, Young Khan the Don on Twitter, Young Khan the Don on TikTok, Damon Jones, aka Young Khan the Don on Facebook. And they also, to learn more about this magnificent program that I'm engaged in with Brother Ben X the Great, this digital real estate program, they can just look it up at abscoach.life. That's www.abscoach.life. And you can find out everything that you need to know, or you can call me direct at 219-200-9949. Yeah, I ain't scared to give you my number, because you ain't gonna get nothing but some truth and some hard work and love when you call that number. 219-200-9949.
Can you bless us closing out with some bars or something? I don't know if you remember the stuff from Have You Forgotten, or whatever else you got you working on. Whatever, you close us out with some bars.
I hit you with something recent. Let me see. It's evil how my people keep on dying in these streets. Y'all pussy cats be lacking, and ain't no lions in these streets. On the real, I be dressed to kill with a suit and tie up in these streets. And I'm coming with the flow, designed to get the dough, because I intend to eat. All my hitters on deck, I'm gonna give them respect. But when it come to busting, I'm been the best. I'm what you get if you take some of Drake with a little bit of Migos and mix them with tech. Nine it is, go find a ditch. You already know what time it is. A lot of y'all propped up who cannot bust, got the game stopped up like sinuses. That's minuses, no pluses. Competition, I'ma sit them on crutches. Point blank, period, end of discussion. When you see red everywhere, ain't no blushing. Who you know iller than me when I spit? Cause it's too many counterfeit MCs who not legit. The game full of so much poison, I am detoxing it with a special technique so you barely can peep how deep that I can get. I admit that I'm sick and I'm lit with the bars. Everybody and their mama know, whoa, I'm making that bread, that cheese and dough, serving these stars like dominoes. If you say you can rap, but you pick up the mic and you whack, oh no, you gotta go. At this point, you ain't dealing with a dude in a suit no more. You dealing with an animal con. Come on, man, I got these bars. This ain't what y'all want. This ain't what they want, Brother Willie. I'm telling you.
Yo, man, keep, especially when we know in this age now, this digital format, people don't need record labels and all that, man. Keep putting your stuff out so people can get access to it, man. Thank you, brother. Listen,
yes,
thank
sir.
you for what you shared. Highly significant, man. Thank you, man. Allah continue to bless you, man. And we'll be putting, once we upload this on YouTube, I'll send you a clip. But I'll send you the link, but it's definitely going to be on my Facebook page, and you can share it. Thank you. Give your family the greetings, brother. And thank everybody who tuned in. Make sure y'all leave comments. What did you get? What stood out to you? And may Allah continue to bless you, my brother.
Hey, I want to, before I go, if I may, I want to give a shout out. I don't know if the sister's going to see it, but she's one of your top believers, I would call her. She's a dedicated author and writer. She goes by the name of Sister Rhodesia Muhammad.
Yeah, man.
And you know I'm connected to the NO through you and Sister Rhodesia. So I just wanted to give props to her and her whole entire family. The sister's always a hard worker. She's writing for the Final Call newspaper. She's always on the front line. So if she sees this, I just want to give a salute to her and a shout out to her, because she's definitely a dedicated soldier. And so I appreciate her. And I just wanted to say to all the believers, stay strong. We too far in the fight to be backing up now. So the minister, that's the last thing the minister told me at a radio station. He came out in the hallway and saw me and reached out to shake my hand, and he whispered these words. He said, "Well, Brother Jesus, we here now." And I said, "Yes, sir." I'm still trying to figure out what he meant, but it always seems to come up at the right moment. So I will just say that to all of the believers. We here now, so we might as well fight.
Might as well fight. Thank you, man. May Allah continue to bless you, and we'll talk later. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Peace.
Peace.